Good morning good morning everyone, and welcome to Facebook Live. Great to be back after our board meeting on Thursday, and we said that we'd change these from a weekly touch point with the industry to once a month. So great to talk to you and answer some of the questions that have come through in the last 24 to 48 hours. But just as a bit of an update, you may or may not have seen last week the board announced stake levels for the coming season, commencing the 1st of August, and we will see stake levels return to the pre-COVID levels that we saw in 2019-2020, which is the current racing season we're in. Thanks to the support of RETA and the government and the codes working together, that's been a good result based on going into lockdown in March and not knowing what the other side of COVID looked like. I think all parties have worked really well together with the government and RETA to deliver a package that allows us to continue stake levels at existing levels. So great to see, and thank you for everyone's support. I'd also like to say thank you to the trainers, the jockeys, the owners, stable hands, track riders, breeders that have worked through with us all in getting racing back up and running. Hasn't been an easy time, and I'm sure over the next 12 months as we reshape and rebuild racing, we've got some exciting times ahead. But thank you to all involved. The other important aspect, I call them policy positions that we took. The board have also approved the continuation of paying back to 14th, and also no noms and acceptance fees for owners, and that's another positive initiative in addition to the announcement on stakes. So some good things there for owners to reduce costs, and also the continuation of stake levels, which are really important. As we all know, stakes provide an impetus for trainers and jockeys and owners to earn, but it also encourages new people into the sport. Just a couple of other updates. You may have seen it's been a bit of a slow release, but up on the website now we have live vision of Trackside 1 and Trackside 2 live on loveracing.nz, and that'll be complemented by some further announcements in August in improving the loveracing.nz destination with more punter information. But great news, loveracing.nz now streams live Trackside 1 and Trackside 2. That's the opportunity to stream free onto your platforms, whether that's your laptop, your iPhone, or your smart TV at home. So it's just another way you can enjoy thoroughbred racing live from around New Zealand, where we kicked off on the 20th of June, and it's been fantastic to see the number of horses that have come back into work and are racing. I know we're in winter and we've got some tracks that are heavy. We've had some restrictions on us on where we can run racing, but as we've assessed the demand, the Bureau have done a fantastic job in managing the horse population and putting more races on. We're going to Avondale next week. We're going to Hawke's Bay before the end of July. And then we kick in, of course, to the 1st of August, which is a new racing season. And that can't come around quick enough for all of us. And thanks for all your support as we build out. Importantly, the board talked about should we have a Horse of the Year function or not, given when we didn't know, a couple of months ago when we'd come out of our COVID pandemic. Well, it's great to see the country's responded. As the government and the Prime Minister talks about, we're a team of 5 million people that have worked really well, and it's great to see that those numbers keep coming down and are being managed appropriately. Off the back of that, we've now been able to announce that we will conduct a Horse of the Year function once a year where all the industry can get together. We have a maximum of about 500 that can attend. It's sold out every year. It's now going to be held this year on the 11th of October at Claudelands in Hamilton. And tickets will go on sale in the next couple of weeks. And please keep an eye on loveracing.nz where you'll be able to get further information. Off the back of that, let's now take some questions. And they're really good questions again this week from Michael. Michael's talked about, with the jumps horse numbers stacking up, especially in maiden races, is there a chance you'll be putting on more meetings or at least more maiden or hurdle chases? And that, just before I answer that, Michael's made a really good observation, and it's great to see that our jumpers are cleaning up in Australia, and great to see the prize money coming back over the ditch over the coming weeks. So in answer, Michael, we have the opportunity in the 0 to 1 win programming of a race at Tiara on the 23rd of August that provides that opportunity for maiden chasers. Understanding we are in a truncated season. I appreciate it's not perfect, but we are listening to the best we can and programming accordingly. So thanks for your question, Michael. Michael Preston asked the question, I work in the industry and even prior to lockdown there was a sense of the disconnect between the coalface and industry administration. Has there been any consideration towards a relocation to a northern city? Well, Michael, I'd like to answer that in a couple of parts. Wellington has been the home of the administration of New Zealand Thoroughbred Racing for some time. It has an obligation to service the needs of both our participants and our clubs and our ecosystem across the North and South Island. And up until now, that's being based in Wellington has been seen to be the best location. We do have people that regularly attend race meetings. We have a number of field staff that are visiting trainers both on the North and South Island. We have staff on the North and South Island in our training programs. So we have a presence. I think what's also important and the enormous work that our teams do here, we've got 4 people in the Bureau, we've got 4 people in our Rego team that are taking over 2,200 calls a week from participants, customers, owners. So we are hearing, we are listening, we are processing, and that doesn't take account of the 50% of our participants that do use our online services. So there's an enormous amount of work goes in. We are in touch. We admit that we don't get everything right, but we are trying our best to service the industry through this period. But thanks for the question, Michael, and I hope that clarifies some of the thoughts you've had. The other question that Michael's asked, during the recent return to racing, some apprentice riders have a great start to their careers and others continued where they left off. And we've certainly seen that with Nigel Tiley's Callum Jones. He's kicked off his career in fantastic style and he's a great ornament to the game, and I hope he has a long and successful period in thoroughbred racing. But Michael, we are keen to continue some of the programs. Our Ride to Time program that is conducted normally in school holidays. We have more than 100 young children that get to learn what thoroughbred racing is about, and we're going to continue that program and grow the numbers of people in that program. We're also doing a significant amount of work with the Trainers Association in developing out a track rider program to make sure that we can deliver in the future appropriately qualified and trained track rider programs. And the third area, what we all have to realise, we've currently got 50 apprentices in our program across the North and South Island that are being trained by our trainers, which are a fantastic resource and do a great job with our apprentices. We've got training advisors, 90 sessions a year that they get to do in class, and we've got our jockey coaches, David Walsh, and our other champion, Noel Harris. So they do a great job in supporting our apprentices and supporting jockeys more generally. But good questions, Michael, and appreciate your input. Dave Kenny and Peter Churchill, fields and newspapers with a big question mark. So as you're aware, the fields are no longer in the newspapers. There have been occasions where NZME through the New Zealand Herald have published fields and form, and that's at their discretion. We are engaged with both those publications, both Stuff and NZME, from a thoroughbred racing perspective, and how do we build out a continued improved profile for thoroughbred racing, whether it's across digital platforms, content sharing, and also delivering promotion of our feature days. So that's an ongoing discussion we're having with both those groups. We do realise they've got large digital audiences that we need to make sure that thoroughbred racing is profiled and is considered it is an elite sport in New Zealand. It employs over 50,000 people, has an economic impact throughout New Zealand of 1.6 billion. It's an important player, and we want to have a presence in both those publications into the future. Steve Chalice, and there's lots of questions from Chris Monaghan, Diane, Tony, Gail, Dave and others around trackside radio, and certainly with myself being on track since we've come back racing, it is the main question on everyone's lips. The reality is that our trackside radio cost was in the vicinity of $2 million a year. Sports radio in New Zealand doesn't pay its way. There was negligible advertising revenue, so that drove the decision by Rita and the Racing Board to discontinue that service. We do understand there's a loyal group of people, but we have to also ask ourselves, is it value at $2 million a year? And we are advocating for how do we get our communication, how do we get our services of races out to our customers, and we are engaged with Rita on that. But and there are options that Rita are looking at that we'll hopefully talk about in the weeks to come. But yeah, I understand the frustration, but there is the opportunity. I know lots of you, all of you that are watching Facebook Live today have come onto Facebook. So you can go online like you are today, download the Rover app and hear all the Trackside 1, Trackside 2 live audio streams for you to enjoy on your phone, on your laptop, and I'd encourage you to do that. And it can be streamed through your car radio. So one of the big questions I get is, I can't listen to the radio when I'm travelling to and from the races. Well, there is the opportunity, assuming you have Bluetooth in your car, to stream the Rover app with Trackside Radio 1 and 2 on your phone, and there is an opportunity. So that's what I'm advocating. Every time I get the opportunity to people ask me that question, and you say to them, have you got Bluetooth in your car? Yes, they have. Have you got a mobile phone? Yes, you have. Well, plug it in, seek out, download the Rover app, and go to Trackside 1 and Trackside 2 live audio, and there's a solution for you there today. But at the cost that the industry was incurring at $2 million a year, and the need to provide money back to the codes to distribute to the clubs and the owners, that saving has gone back in distributions to the industry for the 2021 season. So that's a really important, it's a judgment call, and it's one that I understand and I support that Rita are driving, to save costs, to be more efficient in order to drive returns to the industry. Moving right along, question from Danica Guy: When are we having rating races programmed? It is very hard to place horses in the current system and very unfair to owners. Could we please have 72 rated races ASAP, as currently there are racing against highly rated horses and not getting a fair deal in the weights? Well, at this stage, Danica, another good question. It's planned to continue with open entry races during August and September, with the exception of Hastings meeting on the 19th of September, where there'll be opportunities for those horses rated 72. So thanks for that question, Danica. I hope that's provided you some more information. Michael Tyler: when will there be weights? When will the weights return to their pre-COVID allocations? Our team are currently working on that, and we'll go back to what the arrangements were pre-COVID on the 1st of August. So that's only a couple of weeks ago. And also, Michael asked the questions: when will we know what races like the Winter Cup will be worth? We're less than 4 weeks away, and no one knows anything. Well, those we're in discussions with our clubs yesterday. And our stakes matrix, those announcements will be out in the next during the course of next week. Next question from Michael: I've read a couple of places that the NZTR plan to keep paying stakes to horses placed back to last. Is this true? Yes, it is true. It's a way of spreading the prize money across more participants, and we are also continuing the not required to be charged for noms and acceptance fees. So we believe that's a positive for the industry. It's spreading the money. It's a cost. Ultimately, prior to COVID, the industry was collecting about $1.7 to $1.8 million in noms and acceptance fees. They're now free. We're now paying back to 14th. So there's a good call it opportunity and benefit to owners in not having to pay that monthly bill. And in fact, might receive a cheque every 2 weeks from our stakes payment run. Some couple of other questions coming through while we're online. How long is NZTR going to take to pay out Stakes 1? Owners get paid next week. They're paid fortnightly, and they were paid last week. So we have a fortnightly pay run, and we're on schedule to do that. And clearly, if they don't come, the only things we do withhold is any swabs. But apart from that, all participants are paid every 2 weeks, and there's no reason. So if Jim's asked that question, so Jim, we hope that the money lands in your account, unless there's been a swab and we haven't been given clearance from the stewards of that swab. But there's no reason why those things won't be paid out. All right, so the questions keep coming. I appreciate it. It's great that you've. Hopefully, they're good questions, and we really appreciate the opportunity to engage. Once again, we'll do this every month. The board had a really good meeting last Thursday. Really good discussions around our budget. Good discussions around club funding policies. Good discussions around our stakes. And we have to be cognizant that we are in the middle of. We haven't recovered from COVID yet. There are things happening in Australia, particularly across the eastern seaboard, where they're seeing a second, second wave of COVID cases. It's really important. Australian Racing have done an amazing job for us through our lockdown, and that's been able to underpin some of the funding streams you're seeing coming through from the 1st of August this year. And we want to see Australian racing continue, but we have to be prudent, and we will, with Rita of the TAB on a quarterly basis, review our numbers. But it's really pleasing that we can put those announcements out last week for our stake levels for the 2021 season, and continue the initiatives for both paying back to 14th and no nonsense acceptance fees. Really positive. The feedback we've had has been really positive, and that was the impetus to continue that structure going forward in August. Thanks to the clubs, in the discussions we have with clubs, not easy in this COVID period. We know there's been impacts on sponsorship. We know there's impacts on their day-to-day operating model. Thanks to the trainers for getting all the horses back in work. You've done an amazing job. Appreciate your support. And to all the track riders, the breeders, as I know you don't like hearing it, but it is unprecedented at times. It's fantastic that we've been able to come out of this as a country, and I'm sure there's countries around the world are looking at in envy of New Zealand, the way we're back up and running and making the whole economy tick and getting people back to the races, people back to sport. On that note, I'm going to say thank you, appreciate your help, and we'll see you about the same time next month. Happy racing, and I hope you're back a winner. Thank you.